Revelation 13, verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Revelation 13, verse 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. Revelation 20, verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus / Yahusha, and for the word of God / Elohim, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ / Mashiach 1,000 years.
A federal prison in the United States has carried out the execution of a convicted killer, Brandon Bernard. The African-American man was part of a gang who abducted, robbed and murdered 2 white youth ministers in 1999. Well, he's the 9th federal inmate to have been put to death since July. More federal prisoners have been executed in the US this year than in the previous 56 years combined. Lebu DeSecco has this report.
Brandon Bernard had been on death row for the last 20 years, and on Thursday he became the first federal prisoner to be executed during the presidential transition. It's one of 5 that are scheduled. If the rest go ahead, Donald Trump will have overseen the deaths of 13 federal inmates since July this year, more than any president in over a century. The federal death penalty was reinstated in 1988, but executions were rare. Just 3 had taken place since then, and none since 2003. But in July, the Trump administration resumed the practice after a 17-year hiatus. Brandon Bernard's case had attracted the support of celebrities like Kim Kardashian West. The reality star and prison reform activist had called on her followers to tweet Donald Trump to save Mr. Bernard. And tomorrow, another federal execution is scheduled at the same penitentiary in Indiana. These executions come just weeks before Joe Biden takes office, and he has said that he will seek to end the death penalty. The incumbent president would usually defer to his successor and let the president-elect set the course. But Donald Trump's attorney general says he is just following the law. He says he owes it to the victims and their families to carry forward this sentence.
Swin, let's start with you. You're on the byline of the Rolling Stone report. What can you tell us about Trump's embrace of the death penalty?
Well, first, I must add that you got my last name beautifully. That was a wonderful Thai pronunciation of it, so thank you so much. Well, this is something that, as you teased during your monologue earlier, it's not something that we can observe in a vacuum when we're talking about what would Trump do if he reconquered the White House in 2024. Even though, given Trump's past track record, it might be tempting to sort of brush these things off as, oh, he's just spouting off. He has a graphic kind of B-movie understanding of the criminal justice system. This is just him talking to confidants in private and trying to sound like a tough guy. That may be the case if we didn't already have the first term of the Trump presidency, where he very much with, particularly with Attorney General Bill Barr, he did make some of these graphic and deadly desires reality. He and his administration carried out a historic execution spree during the final 6 months of his presidency, where he and his Justice Department executed more federal prisoners than the last 10 presidents before him combined. This was something that was accelerated as even after he lost the presidency. So this is something we know that he is willing to do with his administration in the past in a big way. It's not just talk for him. And towards the end of his administration, he and his Justice Department did make moves to try to revive things. There were actual papers filed that had to do with, okay, here are ways that we could potentially try to bring back things like gallows and firing squads. But he wasn't able to consummate it because, of course, he lost the presidency to Joe Biden. He has not forgotten about this, and he really does, according to people we've spoken to who have spoken directly to the former president. This is something he really wants to bring back.
Ruth, Swin raised some scary stuff, quite honestly. And we all are very familiar with Trump's praise of brutal tactics from dictators as his way of thinking about controlling the population. So what does this obsession with the death penalty tell you about how he views power?
Yeah, this is autocrats love to have people killed, and they're always trying to think of how to kill more people in an efficient manner. So he also had floated group executions. And Donald Trump is a very violent person. Let's not forget that he started his campaign in 2016 by saying that he could shoot someone. And that wasn't taken seriously, so I'm glad that we're featuring this now. And one of the most revealing items in the reporting was that it was floated that he said, oh, perhaps we'll televise or we'll make these executions for public consumption. And this is exactly what autocrats do. They don't just, like Duterte in the Philippines, they don't just talk about executing drug dealers. They actually Gaddafi, the Libyan dictator, used to put people on TV in televised confessions, and he would bring school children on field trips to sports stadiums to see people executed by hanging. So it makes them feel powerful, it makes them feel in control, and it sets an example.
Well, my people are so smart. And you know what else they say about my people? The polls. They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
Sit rep as
Last night I dreamt about how things were.
Not here yet! Of every enemy of the state!
And then I woke up here.